Hey there, teeth lovers. Welcome to today's show. So, full disclosure, I actually had a completely different podcast episode planned in my head, but I just got off a phone call with a new client and I got all fired up about it because, she told me she felt kind of lost in the gym, but she was getting all this conflicting information, right? She had heard a podcast from one guy speaking and then she went to this new gym and of course they gave her a free session, right? Because they're always trying to sell you personal training. And then he's telling her totally different things, right? So, I just wanted to clarify this is a problem. I hear this all the time. Like, I don't know what to do. Upper body, lower body. Should I do full body, right hit? Like all the things. There's so much noise out there. And my goal, my entire objective with this podcast is just to educate. So today I'm talking about the best type of exercises for hygienists with pain. So if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure that's you and you fall in this category. So stay tuned because I'm going to dive right in. Hey there! Welcome to the Lift for Longevity podcast, where our goal is to build our strongest, healthiest body. We all deserve to feel our best, but since we only get one body, we have to make sure to protect it by moving safely and with purpose to prevent pain, injury, and surgery. I'm your host, Brianne, and I'm a fit pro turned business owner and also a girl mom. I'm obsessed with educating and empowering dental pros on how to take care of their body by training efficiently and building the right muscles to prolong their career. I know you're tired of spending time working out but still dealing with annoying aches and pains, getting rid of your pain temporarily only to have it come right back just a few hours later, or feeling like you never have any energy. You wish there was a long-term solution to get rid of your pain for good. Well, I'm here to give you real-life, actionable steps that you can take today to get rid of your pain, say goodbye to quick fixes, and have energy to live a life that you love. So if you're ready to get stronger, enjoy your life outside the operatory, and have longevity in your career, grab yourself a high-protein snack and let's get to it. Okay, so like I said in my intro, I'm a little fired up about this and I'm going to do my best to slow down. It's really hard when I'm like excited because I'm passionate about what I do and I start to ramble and I talk really, really fast. So I'm going to try not to do that. Starting with a deep breath. So, okay, like I said, I was chatting with a gal today. She's actually from Brazil. So she had listened to this guy. He's from Brazil. He's a trainer on Instagram and he has a podcast. And he was just talking about basically like, it sounded like you could build muscle doing body weight exercise, right? Also known as calisthenics. But he was basically saying like you shouldn't just do legs and just do upper body, like you should do everything all together. I mean, that's not the worst advice I'd ever heard, but fast forward to she had just switched to LA Fitness and she had gotten a free session with this trainer and he's like, oh no, like you need to do the bro split, right? Chest and tries, back and bis, your body needs a rest. Yeah, when you're bodybuilding, you need to like work the hell out of that muscle group, right? For example, chest and tries. You're going to work it to fatigue, right? You're going to start with compound exercises, go to isolation, and then yeah, you're lifting heavy as shit and you need to recover. Are you trying to be a bodybuilder? I don't think so. That's what I told her. Like, this is so like total like personal trainer, like novice, right? Like if you're green or if you're just in the bodybuilding world, like that's 100% of the time what they're going to say. So this is not what hygienists need. So back to what I alluded to. Compound exercises, it's multi-joint exercises. You're working multiple muscles at a time, right? For example, the deadlift, right? You're going to be working the glutes, the quads. I mean, the entire posterior chain is essentially worked in a deadlift. So you're just working multiple muscles at a time, right? And so that's what you would start with like in a training program. You'd start with like a big heavy lift, deadlift, for example. And then you do accessory work or isolation exercises, like hamstring curls, things like that. However, this is like running a marathon for a hygienist before like doing a 5K, right? Not even sprinting a 5K, like walking a 5K. Like this is just way too much. Your body, you already have all these compensations going on, right? You're dealing with pain, your joints are misaligned, your spine's misaligned, like there's just 8 million things going on. And I'm gonna use my client Rita as an example. So Rita was doing this. She was lifting really heavy. She was following this program for years. Heavy hip thrusts, heavy deadlift. She did squats on the barbell, all of it was barbell. And she's like, I feel strong, I look great, but I feel like shit, right? She had pain. She felt more sore, more tight after every workout, right? You shouldn't feel like that. So basically, I've talked about her before, so you might have heard this story, but when she joined my program, I did a movement assessment because I do that with every single person that comes across my program first. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like your chest falls forward on your squat. She's like, I know, but I don't know how to fix it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So she's here squatting heavy with this faulty movement pattern for years, right? Because guess what? Your body gets used to that, right? And so you're just not working the right muscle. So basically, compound movements have a time and a place. But this is the thing. We need to take a couple steps back. This is exactly what I told her. I said we need to take a couple steps back, kind of fix our movement patterns, realign our body, and train it, in its proper movement patterns, right? So we're training optimally. Then down the road, if you want to go back to the barbell, like you can do so, but you're just working out suboptimally, right? So basically, I will use another example of like a bent row. Like I have people in my DMs on Instagram all the time. Oh, I do all these pulling exercises. Cool. Well, then why are you still having pain? Why you're having pain is because you're not working like the small muscles that you need to target, like with isolation exercises, also known as like that accessory work I mentioned earlier. So basically that's when you're working like one muscle at a time. So like a glute bridge, right? I use that example all the time. It's really, really isolating for the glutes. Basically, what I want to share with you today is that like isolation exercises are going to take the cake when it comes to hygienists dealing with pain. Because think about it. If you are working out and you're doing the lat pull down and you're doing bent rows and you're doing all these things, like I said, why are you still having pain? You're neglecting, well, first you have to warm up properly. So that was my previous podcast episode. So definitely take a listen to that. However, if you're not doing the right exercises for your career to work the rhomboids, right? The serratus anterior. I don't ever see a serratus anterior in any programs I've ever come across. And I've been training for years, right? The serratus anterior is probably the number one muscle that a hygienist needs to strengthen, right? And it's a hard muscle to target. So that's an example. The rear delts are lacked a lot of times. The mid and the lower traps aren't really hit because your upper traps are taking over, right? And your lats are really tight and they're taking over. So there's just a lot going on in your body. So I know I'm kind of all over the place and I'm hoping that I'm making sense. But what I would say, like if you're doing that bro split, right? If you're doing like, chest one day or shoulders one day, like back and buys one day, like that is so a waste of time and not efficient. It's basically a split. If you're looking to be a bodybuilder, if you're looking to build a shit ton of muscle, which you can build muscle without that, right? So basically, I know I talked about the upper body muscles that are weak and not targeted, but like the hamstrings are something that I see are so weak all the time in hygienists. And it's like, if you're going in deadlifting, like Rita was doing, like all your other muscles are just taking over and those muscles continue to stay asleep. So actually, I think it was her, I had her do a single leg hip thrust with no weight. And she's like, holy shit. Well, yeah, because when you're working with the barbell, you have so many big muscles taking over at a time, but when you're on one leg and you're really isolating one muscle at a time, it's super challenging, right? Because you're forcing that muscle to work. Nothing else can take over. Another example would be like a banded hamstring curl. That's something that I have my clients do. Or no, it was the stability ball hamstring curl that she's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, because it's like literally you're forcing those hamstrings to work and it's challenging. Like I said, they're not able to kind of hide behind the other muscles, right? There's, a lot of compensations are at play, like I said, when you're doing these heavy lifts and these compound movements, and you're not able to compensate when you're having one muscle working at a time, right? So stability ball hamstrings are a good one. And even like single leg stuff, like a lot of people, if you have like a pelvis tilt, right, like tilted to the right or left, then essentially like one side, the left to the right is going to be weaker or stronger, right? So it's important that we're doing like those single leg movements, because I've used my example before of myself with my right side stronger. So like I know when I'm squatting, not anymore, I fixed this, but my right side would always push more, and my left side, you can visibly see my right quad is bigger. That's just how our body operates, right? Most of us are right hand dominant. So anyways, what I'm trying to come across with my point of this entire thing is like, you do not need to do compound exercises at this point in time if you are suffering with pain, right? You are reinforcing these faulty movement patterns every time you're lifting on these heavy compound movements, right? So we need to warm up properly, like I talked about in my previous podcast episode. That is probably the number one episode that you should be listening to after this, of course. And then we need to start with those isolation exercises. And I've talked about this before, like it's not crazy, like, 500 pounds. Like it's very slow, controlled. Every single repetition I do has intention, and it's slow and controlled. And that's how my clients are lifting too, right? With bands, that time under tension, you're constantly working that muscle, forcing it to work so that it's able to develop and to grow. And so you can build those underactive muscles to fix your imbalances that are causing your pain. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, like I say, every single episode almost, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to chat about this. I will be doing another post on this on Instagram just because it's really, really important. And if you want to learn more about compound exercises or isolation, again, my DMs are always open. I'm happy to chat with you, or if you have any questions about your program and what you're doing currently and if it's benefiting you or not, I'm always happy to share with you and educate because that is what I'm here for. So that is all that I have for today. I hope this was enlightening for you, and moving forward, you're going to pump the brakes on the compound and switch to those isolation exercises to build a balanced body for your career. Talk soon. Have a good one. Thank you so much for listening in today. I hope you got a takeaway from this episode, and if you did, would you be so kind to share it with another dental pro you think would benefit from it? I know you love learning, and chances are that they do too. Also, I would love to connect with you on Instagram, so go ahead and head over to the Lift for Longevity podcast page or follow me at Built by Brianne. If you shoot me a message saying hello, I will personally respond because I love chatting with dental pros. Before you go, though, I want to let you know that I appreciate you and what you do, and I hope to chat soon. Until next time, stay strong.